Hi and welcome. Let's talk about double pigeon or fire log pose. I've heard it called both in yoga classes. This is a posture that there's a lot of different ways to adjust and make feel a little bit better in your body. So let's get to it so that you can start practicing double pigeon with a little bit more ease. So first of all, double pigeon or fire log is one that's a really big hip pose. So if you know that you have tight hips, it's probably going to be helpful for you to have some blocks near you. This is going to be a great tool while you're in double pigeon. Okay, so double pigeon is one where we can kind of get the subtle alignments of the legs, the knees, and the hips a little bit off. So what we're looking for, this is what I like to do. First, I bring my elbows to my hip bones. I mean, obviously they can't get all the way in there, but elbows generally to where my hip bones are. And then I bring my hands straight down like robot arms. Right here is where my hands are gonna fall, and I'm gonna try to line my knees up with those right where my hands are. So what I mean by that is, see where my right hand is? I'm gonna bring my right knee directly in line with where my hand falls, and I'm looking for a flat, and with the front edge of your mat or whatever edge of your mat, we're looking for a straight line here from ankle to knee. So where my knee is, I don't want my foot in further to my body, and I don't want my foot further out away from my body. What I'm looking for is ankle and knee in line with one another. So we start with that and then flex the bottom foot. That's really helpful for knee protection over time. And then from there, you're going to stack the other leg directly on top. So same thing, where my hand comes down from my hips or right from my sides, that's where I'm going to put my left knee, and it will fall directly above my right foot and ankle. So a lot of times if you have tight hips, what this will look like is a little bit more like this. So this leg won't quite go all the way down. That's totally cool. A great way to support this is to slide a block underneath your left hip or whatever your top hip is. Okay, so let's get this stacked evenly. So a lot of times your feet will kind of want to turn in like this, and see how my shins aren't stacked on top of one another here? What we're looking for is shins stacked on top of one another. So when my hands come down from my sides, from my hips, I want my knee, my top knee and my top ankle to fall directly under my hands. So this is where we're at right here. So my top shin and bottom shin are right in line with one another. They're stacked directly on top of one another, and my feet are flexed to be kind to the knees. So if your double pigeon looks a little bit more like this, totally cool, all good, still double pigeon, it's still fire log. Give yourself some support by sliding a block underneath your leg. Another thing that you can think of, if this is like excruciating and really uncomfortable, the good news is, here's the good news, my friends, the flexibility of your hips says nothing about your character as a human. So if your hips are tight, don't worry about it. If this is still quite uncomfortable, remember, sensation is okay, but if you're feeling discomfort and you notice that this is still not supporting enough, you can also tip back, plant your bottom foot on the ground, and find more of a reclined posture here. Here, I'll show you from the side as well. So instead of here in double pigeon, you can come back onto your hands, plant your right foot on the ground, and then find a little bit more support here. This won't be as intense on the hip and provides a little bit more space for you to access and get into the hip rather than kind of forcing yourself into double pigeon. So that's always an option too. If you are one of my flexy bendy friends, which good, no less yoga in one thing than the other, no more yoga in one thing than the other. I'm going to have you flex your feet. So if we're getting into pigeon, I'm checking my alignment here. I've got my top ankle directly over my bottom knee. I've got my top knee directly over my bottom ankle, and both of my hips are flexed. Or I'm sorry, both of my feet are flexed. You can also get a hold of your booty. So you literally grab the butt cheek and bring it up and back so that your sits bones are more on the ground. That's going to tilt your pelvis a little bit differently so that you can get into the hips even more. So we'll start with that. You kind of lean forward, grab your booty on each side and shift it up and back. And then you can stay right here. You can have a block underneath you to support this leg if you want a little bit more support, or if your leg's a little bit higher up. Or if you're looking for more sensation, you can slowly lean forward. But when I say lean forward, a lot of times when we fold forward in a posture, we sort of slump down, and you can see the arch in my back here, and I can feel it immediately in my low back. It doesn't feel so hot. So instead, what we're looking for is hinging from the hips with a flat back. So right now my back is flat. I'm going to roll my shoulders back, lift my heart up, and engage my core. And then from here, instead of rounding forward to lean over, I'm going to hinge forward from my hips. So the fold is coming from here. I'm hinging forward. And for me, my belly and boobs kind of get in the way. And so I'll usually stop when I notice that I start to round forward. So if you find yourself as you're folding, shoulders and hips in line with one another, and then you fold forward, right here is about where I start to zoop, go down. So what I'm going to do is hold right here. There's a lot of sensation in my hip. Think of hinging forward from the hips rather than folding over the legs. Feet stay active. This is a great place to give yourself a little foot massage if you want to do that, the arches of your feet. And breathe. Notice if there's tightness in your jaw. A lot of times when we have sensation in our hips hold a lot of stress, a lot of tension. The second we get into them, I notice that my jaw kind of clenches up. So if you notice that happening, notice if you could soften. I even take open mouth exhales and stick my tongue out. That really helps to stretch the muscles all around your jaw and upper neck. So that's it, my friends. Fire log, double pigeon. Quick overview of what we talked about today. Making sure that your shins are stacked directly on top of one another. And we're looking for a straight line from knee to ankle, not any closer into the body or further out from the body. Hands by your sides. When you bring your hands down, can you stack both your knees and ankles right where your hands fall? So bottom knee, bottom ankle, top knee, top ankle. Flex those feet, be kind to your knees. Use blocks for support if there's discomfort. You can take different options here, leaning back. Or if you're folding forward, be sure that you hinge from the hips and fold rather than rounding forward. So that's all. Thank you so much for joining me today for this fire log double pigeon tutorial. I hope this helps you in your practice. Be kind to your hips and take the posture that suits your body. Thanks, friends.